Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking today about the 5th house in Vedic astrology. The 5th house is that place where we express our heart's desire, where we're creative and connected to what we truly love in a Dharmic sense, and how that truth and love are the source of wisdom itself, the source of our authentic wisdom as a unique individual. Like I said in the 4th house video, what's in our heart in the 4th house winds up being a creative force in the 5th house. This is why we need to get our emotions and our heart in line, because we're always going to create something, because we're a human being. We're a creative organism. Everything is a creative organism. Anything that is alive is creating something, even if it's just a pile of crap after eating. That is something. And some of us, that's all we create, at least at times in our life. But of course, as a human being, we're, as Jean-Paul Sartre says, we're condemned to be free, which means we have to create ourselves. And we feel pressured to do it. You know, the dog and the cat and the tree, they don't have the existential angst that the human has, because their destiny is a matter of their biology. They're not trying to evolve beyond their programming. And this is by no means to say that they're not as sophisticated and loving and intelligent and wise in their own way, but they don't have the connection to consciousness that is, at least as we understand, to being a human being, where we're trying to create ourselves in a higher level. And the 5th house is the house of that creativity. And that creativity is connected to our heart's desire, the things we love the most. And as I said in the 4th house video, that source of love and the source of the thing we love the most is our heart in the 4th house, which is very open and neutral and impressionable. What we put into our heart creates the environment, or produces the environment from which we create. So when we put disturbing music and food and interactions and situations in our heart, then we just create disturbance everywhere. When we put beauty and joy relative to who we are, and we cultivate those virtues in our heart in the 4th house, then we create that in the 5th house. So of course the 5th house is also classically known as the child house, the child bhava. And this is because we're hardwired to love children as nothing else we've ever seen. Nature will do that. Nature, we're hardwired to have our children be our heart's desire. The appearance of the child, especially our child, connects us to that source of love in a way that nothing else has or possibly can. So even if we don't have any other capacity whatsoever, having a child will connect us to our heart, our heart's desire, and extend us in ways that we've never imagined. And again, this is the power. It's not just to be creative in that. And when I say no other capacity, I didn't mean that to be an insult, like, well, people who have children, but then they're not, writers or musicians, don't have any capacity. That's not what I mean. I mean, some people don't have a lot. I mean, even, let's say, let's put it this way. I don't want to use Hitler because it's a worn out paradigm, but even the worst mass murderer in the world loved his children, if he had children, let's say. That whatever capacity we have, the most capacity for love is going to come out with our children. In that, and nature hardwires that. But the reason it's creative isn't just because, or it's not just a passive thing like, oh, we love them, isn't that nice? No. The reason it's creative, or children are creative, is because of the sacrifices we go to and the lengths we will endure and the power of that love to transform us and to make us create ourselves on a higher level. What I mean specifically is that every parent, when they start, they feel unprepared for what's about to happen. They're terrified, they're scared, they've never had a child before, they don't know if they can do it, they're afraid they're going to mess up the child, and they're inexperienced, and they just have nothing else to go by but their love. Nothing. They're kind of thrown into the wilderness to take care of the child. But something kicks in, and at every turn, when they think, oh, I'm not sure what I'll do, they do it. They don't give up because they love the child more than they love all of their crap, for lack of a more elegant way to say it. And that's the power of creativity. That's the power of our heart's desire. When I say creativity, children, it's always important for me to try to organize these ideas and integrate them around the common theme. And the theme is the power of love to extend us beyond our limitations. This is why it's a higher level of Dharma. The 5th house is a house of Dharma. The 4th house was a house of moksha, or liberation, which has to do with meditation and things like that. 5th house is a house of Dharma, just like the 1st house was. But now we're getting into the Dharma of other people. 1st house was the Dharma, the truth of who we are, our unique self in this lifetime. 5th house is the truth of our relations with others. It's that middle section of the house scheme where we're interacting with other people. House 5, 6, 7, and 8 are where we're interacting with other people. Houses 1 through 4 is us trying to know ourselves. So in house 5, we come to experience people as pure love, because this is actually the truth of how we're supposed to treat each other. We're supposed to treat each other as children of God, who we love no matter what they do. This is the way great gurus see us. They see us as their children, not in a dismissive way, oh, you're my child. No, it's like, oh, you're my child, I love you so much. Nothing you could ever do would make me not love you. This is the way gurus see us. My guru was Amma, the hugging saint. And some people actually, who want to criticize Amma, do it. One of the ways they do it is they're like, Amma calls everybody her children, like she's so blah, blah, blah. And some of Amma's devotees sometimes have a hard time with being called children. I'll admit sometimes I'm like, I'm not a child, I'm a big boy. Right? But Amma doesn't mean it like that. Child is not like your baby. It means the affection you have for a child. That's the way we're supposed to treat everybody. What if we treated each other like that? What if we treated each other with the same amount of love that we treat our child? How would the world be different? Right? So it's the power of that creativity, it's the power of that love, it's the power of that heart's desire to create you in a higher dimension. The mother and the father and the parent learn so much about themselves because of the appearance of the child. The child extends them and teaches them things about themselves in ways they would have never learned if it wasn't for the child and everything that the child demands of them. Not because it's easy, which I'll talk about in the video on the 6th house. It's not because it's easy. It's because the power of love changes the equation. With everything else in our life, we ask, or we measure what the task is going to ask of us. Am I going to like this? Am I not going to like it? If I'm not going to like it, I'm not going to do it. With children or other things we love, we don't ask that question. It's not a matter of if I'm going to like it or not. It's, What's the best thing I can do for this being? What's the best thing I can do in this situation? What's right? Dharma. What's right? What's the right thing to do? In other words, what's my Dharma in this situation? So the appearance of the child connects us to Dharma in that way. That's actually what Dharma is. It's truth, righteousness, and our capacity to act in accordance with that when put in those situations, rather than acting in accordance with our likes and dislikes, which is karma. Well, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. That's the way we are in every other thing. And by the way, the fifth house, I keep saying children, children, children. Many people don't have children, and they learn the same lessons by other passions, you would say, other heart's desires. And again, notice I didn't say desire. The third house was a house of personal desire and will, which can be lustful and all of that. That's different than what I'm saying now, which is the heart's desire. The third house is the desire more through the body and the ego. The fifth house is the desire, the heart's desire, the love, the authentic love that makes us gracious and tolerant. But an artist also connects with this. Or someone who connects to it through their work and their svadharma and their purpose. That's what I do in my work. My work is more than just work. And what happens when we're connecting with that heart's desire is it brings out the best in us. Again, we show up and say, hopefully, what's the best I can do here? Not, do I like it? Is it going to make me happy? Of course, there's some of it. But the best we're capable of, the best we have, comes forth when we're connected with our heart's desire. This is why great gurus say, find the thing you love the most and do that. Do that thing. Do that thing you love the most. Because they know that when we do the thing we love the most, we're not going to stay the same. We're going to grow. Because the thing we love the most can't be contained by the ego. So you want to understand that all the things you wonder about, all the things you imagine that you can do in your life, they're not going to happen with you in the state you're in now. I'm not lecturing, I'm saying this is for myself as well. I imagine many things. I imagine things that are like, oh boy, I want to do that. But I can't do that based on who I am now. I need to grow into that. And the only thing that's going to make me grow into that is love and following my heart's desire. Because that's going to extend me in ways that I would never extend if it wasn't for the power of love. Just like the parent is extended in ways they could have never imagined without that child that they love so much, demanding they face some difficulty that they didn't even know existed. And I can say that even with the evolution of my work as my passion and my love has extended me in ways I would have never been able to predict. It looks nothing like, I have to do things that are nothing like I thought I would have to do if I were to become successful back when I started. But you have to grow into that part of yourself and the power of love to extend you mainly toward other people and teach you how to deal with other people more kindly. This is what allows us to actually step into our higher self. Beyond just something that's hardwired biologically like children. Many times, my clients and students are often people who've had kids. And they felt that enormous growth. And then the kids don't need them as much anymore. They're not so connected to that anymore. And they're looking for what's the next thing that's going to be my heart's desire. And then it's different because then they have to generate the enthusiasm. It's not the biology, the biological wiring of the child to the adult that's making them sacrifice. They have to find something bigger than themselves now. And it's a little more difficult, or it certainly can be. So it's that power of love to connect us and to expand us beyond just our own comfort zone, which is really the truth of the 5th house. And the origin of it is the 4th house, which is our feelings. Because we're, as I said, we're always creating something based on what's in our heart. And then all of that love and creativity and heart's desire leads to a lot of work in the 6th house, which I'll talk about in the next video.